So, let's talk about winter emergency logistics, the critical aspects of keeping communities stable when temperatures plummet. First principle, always plan ahead of the weather. That means securing thermal supplies, backup heating sources, and generator fuel weeks before the cold snap hits. The operational reality is this. When temperatures drop below freezing, electrical grid demand instantly spikes by 30–50%. Smart preparation means pre-positioning equipment exactly where it will be needed most. You see, it's not about reacting to an emergency, it's about building that buffer capacity so communities never reach a crisis point. When it comes to community infrastructure, the real game changer is multi-purpose resilience hubs. Imagine buildings that serve as warming centers, service coordination points, and mental health access points all under one roof. The beauty here is that short-term emergency shelters are being transformed into permanent community assets. Instead of temporary aid, these hubs build lasting stability, assistance with paperwork, help finding housing, and psychosocial support. Operationally, it's brilliant you're building capacity that grows over time, creating self-sustaining systems that communities can always rely on. Financially, the golden rule is localization, direct funding to organizations that know the area. When resources bypass international bureaucracy and go directly to local experts, efficiency skyrockets. Local partners spend less on overhead, deliver faster, and build genuine trust within the community. From a pure policy logic perspective, this yields significantly higher returns. Every dollar invested at the local level has a -3x impact because these groups understand precisely where to allocate resources for maximum effect. This isn't charity. It's a mathematically superior funding model. Healthcare in chaotic environments operates similarly. Mobile units become your backbone. When fixed clinics are difficult to access, mobile teams fill the gap by managing chronic diseases and providing routine care for the elderly. The real challenge is no longer trauma response. It's maintaining basic healthcare for a shifting population. Operationally, this demands precision, vehicle maintenance schedules, supply rotation systems, and cross-trained staff. When done correctly, mobile health becomes the primary care ecosystem, not a backup plan. Now, shifting entirely to sports administration, the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics demonstrated remarkable organizational neutrality. Event protocols ensure all athletes compete under equal conditions regardless of background. This is institutional excellence. Podium ceremonies without national symbols, equal broadcasting treatment, and standardized support logistics. This shows how professional event management compartmentalizes operations, maintaining core functionality while adapting to administrative needs. Smart governance knows how to isolate variables. Authorities in a large metropolitan region have confirmed increased security monitoring after unidentified airborne objects were detected near the outer perimeter of the city. Officials have stated very clearly that precautionary systems responded exactly as designed, and there was no disruption to civilian life or essential services. Factually speaking, this kind of response reflects standard protocol in high-density areas where layered monitoring systems are already in place. These measures are not unusual during periods of heightened regional alertness, and at this stage, there is no verified evidence suggesting escalation beyond routine defensive readiness. Meanwhile, on the political and diplomatic front, leaders involved in ongoing international discussions have indicated that outlines for a future stability framework are largely prepared, though some key elements remain unresolved. Now, this part moves slightly into analysis. I think it's important to recognize that public statements at this stage are often deliberately cautious. They tend to emphasize long-term intentions rather than short-term outcomes. Historically, analysts agree that drafting agreements is rarely the hardest part. The real challenge usually lies in trust-building and verification mechanisms, which take time and consistent engagement. On the diplomatic side, there has been continued engagement among multiple governments and institutions. Officials from different sides have confirmed ongoing dialogue focused on risk reduction, communication channels, and post-crisis planning. Factually, this suggests a preference for structured, multilateral coordination rather than unilateral moves. From a policy perspective, and this is interpretation, not assertion, It reflects lessons learned from previous international standoffs, where miscommunication often caused more instability than the original incident itself. At the same time, authorities across several regions have emphasized the importance of protecting essential services and maintaining civilian continuity. Some temporary disruptions have been reported in isolated areas, but officials say contingency systems are functioning as intended. I mean, when you step back and look at this calmly, it highlights how modern governance increasingly prioritizes resilience, making sure daily life continues. Schools operate, hospitals function, and basic infrastructure remains stable, even when the broader situation feels uncertain. Information management has also become a central issue. Conflicting reports and unverified claims tend to circulate quickly during sensitive situations like this. Uh, from a media literacy standpoint, experts consistently stress the importance of relying on verified sources and measured language. Early reports are often incomplete and sometimes revised as more data becomes available. This isn't about withholding information, it's about accuracy over speed, which ultimately serves the public far better. A statement came out tonight that seemed calm, almost procedural, but it carried profound significance. A senior national leader said that a long and difficult negotiation process was nearing completion. I think it's important to pause here. When leaders speak in percentages, they are often signaling progress without committing to outcomes, because the remaining portion, however small it may seem, usually contains the most difficult decisions. This isn't about paperwork or ceremony. It's about long-term stability, public trust, and whether agreements will truly hold once the cameras are gone. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, discussions continue on future security arrangements. I mean, these discussions aren't dramatic on the surface, but they matter. They determine how the region plans for stability, how partnerships are defined, and how responsibilities are shared. At the same time, the daily lives of ordinary people remain precarious. The systems people rely on, power, services, basic infrastructure, can be disrupted without warning. And it's crucial to understand this disconnect. While negotiations proceed slowly and deliberately, the consequences in the real world are immediate and personal. From an analytical perspective, one thing is clear. In today's information environment, there's a constant barrage of claims, counterclaims, and rebuttals. Not every statement can be immediately verified, and not every report is complete. Therefore, responsible analysis requires restraint. You pause. You separate verified facts from unverified claims. You acknowledge uncertainty rather than filling in the gaps with speculation. This approach isn't about avoiding the truth, it's about preserving credibility in a world where speed often trumps accuracy. Now, let's step back for a moment, because a larger shift is underway, one that extends far beyond any single situation. Technology is transforming the way decisions are made. Many tasks are now aided by software systems designed to analyze patterns and recommend actions. These tools are still limited, of course, and still rely on human oversight. But once automation begins to accelerate the pace of decision-making, the window for deliberation shrinks. And historically, when systems change at this level, they don't revert to the old ways, they move forward. This brings us to a question that policymakers, engineers, and society are still grappling with. How much responsibility should remain with humans, and how much can be safely delegated to machines? From a practical standpoint, efficiency matters. From a human perspective, the quality of the decision matters more. Some experts describe today's technology as nascent and incomplete useful, but by no means fully autonomous. Yet, even at this stage, the ethical weight is real. And as major agreements are being finalized, the future will likely be determined not by the technical details, but by how carefully human judgment is preserved in those moments that truly matter.